Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm really happy to say that on YouTube I've gotten over 100 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. It means so much to you guys that you've been watching what I've been putting out, and I really hope I've been helping some people. I've gotten a few comments from some people saying that I was a big help, and that's wonderful. Of course, if you ever leave a comment, I'll always respond back. And I'm all about helping the trans community and being as transparent as possible. Oh, that's kind of a pun, transparent. Pun very much not intended. But the topics I want to talk about today are passing and possibly HRT effects and in what order I experience them in. Okay, so let's talk about passing real quick. So I don't think I pass 100%. I think to pass 100% as, you know, from a cis male person to look just like a cis female, you probably have to start hormones at a very young age. I started when I was 24 years old, right after my 24th birthday. I wish I started earlier, but honestly, I didn't even know what trans was or what any of that entailed until I got that old. And as soon as I found out about it, I basically jumped right on it, got a therapist, had to have my 6 month probationary period, get evaluated, then have a doctor's appointment where they evaluated me. Finally, then I was able to be put on hormones. Um, but I know a lot of people who pass really well, they have to start generally at a pretty young age. Um, and they pass like 100%, I want to say. But that's not everybody. Everybody's very different. Um, I mean, oh, it's very interesting actually. I mean, there's some cis women who um they have some masculine traits too that you have to remember. So, I mean, does really anyone pass 100%? Um, Considering that in the media, a lot of the cisgender women that we're comparing ourselves to, I mean, they're all made up to the nines, and they're actresses, and a lot of them are supermodels. So it's really tough and hard comparing yourself to like people like that. And that's the type of people I compare myself to. And it can be a little toxic. Um, but it's really all about being your best self. But anyways, my experience, for the most part, I feel like I don't stick out too much, but it's okay if you don't even pass because, I mean, I don't even really identify as a 100% cisgendered woman. I identify as transgender because, I mean, that's what I am. I don't identify as a male at all, even though I was born a male. But it's hard for me to identify as a cisgendered woman because I mean I didn't start taking hormones until I was 24, and I didn't really have a cisgendered female childhood. It was very different for me. So yeah, I want to say I identify as a transgender woman, and that's totally fine to identify as transgender rather than identifying as a cis woman. Um, but I'll talk about. Oh my God, I have so many not passing stories. It's crazy, but I can bring up one just really recently, like yesterday. I went to the gas station. I went to go get gas. No biggie. Um, I pull up. The gas attendant comes to my window. Yes, where I live, there's gas attendants. I've lived in other states where you pump your own gas. The state I live in, not so much. Other people pump your gas. But the pump attendant came up and was like, "Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?" And then, of course, so right off the bat, they gendered me correctly to me, which is great. They called me ma'am. I felt wonderful about that. And then I was like, okay, I'll take the regular, the cheap stuff. And immediately he went from ma'am to oh sir, no problem sir, and I feel like I don't know, my voice didn't make me pass. So I mean, even though I passed in appearance, my voice didn't make me pass, and then he sirred me a bunch of times, and it made me feel terrible. Um, but at the same time, I gotta give him the benefit of that doubt too. I mean, he was an older gentleman, probably in his 60s. That's what he looked like, maybe 60s, early 70s. Not 100% with the times, and I really wish I would have stood up for myself and been like, no, you had it right the first time. I'm a transgender woman. You can call me ma'am. But actually, I kind of shut down and just didn't say anything. And I kind of wish I would have stood up for myself more. Um, but I think this is a lot of stuff that trans people just deal with in general. Like a certain aspect of them might pass, but then their voice does not. But I don't know, my voice doesn't really get me down. I don't hate my voice. I don't love my voice. Um, it's actually really funny. I used to cook for a school, well, not a school, an art school summer camp. So it's not like a school, it's just like an art school. And there was one of the camp counselors, and she's a cisgender woman, and she had probably one of the deepest voices I ever met from a cisgender woman, and I thought it was awesome. Actually, it made me go like, oh my god, like made me open up my eyes, like, oh, not every woman has to sound super high pitched, and I mean everyone can own their own voice. Everyone's their own person. We're all made uniquely and individually, and I just think that's beautiful. So if you're trans and you hate your voice and you think it's too deep, you're probably fine, and you just have to accept yourself more, even if other people might misgender you for it. It's okay, and it's also okay just to pass as trans. Like when I first started dressing up and going out, I know I wasn't passing 100%, and it terrified me. I was like, oh, I have to go out there and pass 100% as a woman, or else it's going to be the end of the world. Um, and it was never the end of the world whenever I presented. Like, I always feel better when I present rather than lying to myself and not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have those days where I don't want to put makeup on or dress pretty, and I just go out with the t-shirt and board shorts. But hey, that's fine. You can own your own style. I slap a pair of leggings underneath my board shorts, and it's a little androgynous, but it's okay because I'm not trying to pass as a cisgender woman. I'm trying just to pass as myself and as a transgender woman. So you don't need to put so much pressure on yourself. Just it's best just to be true to yourself, and that's the most important thing. Okay. I guess I'll talk about HRT effects and the order that I experience them in. And I'm sure this is different for everybody. Um, let's see, the first thing I experienced before anything else is I started feeling feelings more. It was all a mental thing right off the bat. Um, and it felt great, actually. I felt like my mind was just syncing up and feeling the right way for once. I mean, I was never a sexually driven person. Um, like most men. Actually, I don't even want to say that. There's probably a lot of men out there that aren't sexually driven, so it's hard to put out absolutes. But um, just mentally, I felt just very liberated. Um, I was able to cry for the first time ever since I was like a kid before testosterone hit me. Oh, I just had a viewer say something. Oh, okay. It's more of a power thing. I mean, pray tell. I would love for you to explain that a little bit more to me. Like, you mean like a male dominance thing? Okay, yeah, I get that. Actually, that's one thing I had a lot of before hormones. I had a lot more confidence, which is really funny. Um, I probably had more confidence going out in women's clothing before the hormones, and then I took the hormones, lost a bunch of confidence, and that kind of hit me hard. But no, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing, Owen V4T. Um, but yeah, I was able to cry for the first time in a while since I was a kid, before the testosterone hit me, and just emotionally open up. That was huge. I noticed a lot slower facial hair growth. I never had any body hair, thank God. So I didn't really have to deal with any of that. Um, but yeah, slower facial hair growth for sure, and the lightening of facial hair. Like when I first used to put on makeup, I used to have to put on liquid foundation and powder foundation and like different shades and everything to kind of hide the shadow. I mean, this is just one layer of liquid foundation on right now with some lotion, and I think it hides everything. And I haven't even shaved in like a day, so I think that's a huge improvement. Um, a lot of facial changes. I actually on YouTube I have um, a transitional video, and you can see like the different stages of my face and everything. But like, it's crazy. Um, just a lot of distribution and stuff goes everywhere. I can kind of turn my head. Yeah, my jaw's a little bit more cut. I'll take my headset off for a sec so you guys can see a little better. But yeah, my face used to be very round, very ovular, and now it's got more of a cut to it, and I think that's great. I have had zero surgeries. This has all been 100% effects from HRT. Um, oh, where am I streaming? I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable enough to answer that. I'm in the United States. I'll say that. Oh, also, I guess I can also say I'm in the United States and I'm on the West Coast. So I'm comfortable with saying that. Um, let's see. So facial changes. There were no voice changes at all. Oh, what platform? So right now, of course, I'm streaming on Twitch. Um, but then I upload my Twitch streams to YouTube. So I'm on those two platforms. I'm sorry, I didn't really know what you meant at first. My bad. Um, so yeah, like my face was just a lot more ovular before. My voice, yeah, it hasn't really changed. I sound the same as have always have. Um, like I said, I wish I sound a little bit more feminine, but like I don't hate my voice, and it's more about self-acceptance than anything else, cause it's fine. Um, let's see. Then the big, so all that kind of happened within the first, I want to say, couple years, and then and it also depends on the kind of hormones you take. I first started taking pills, and from the estradiol pills and the spironolactone, the testosterone blockers, um, I mean, I experienced a lot of differences and everything, but like things really didn't start to pick up until I started taking injections. Injections did so much more than the pills. And I wish I would have known that earlier. I didn't start injections until I was in my 30s. But yeah, like when I got to the West Coast and I was like still taking pills, my hormone doctor was like, "Are you happy with the results?" I just told them, I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm not happy at all. I wish I passed more. Um, and thanks to injections, and I've been taking those for a couple years, um, things have definitely been looking a lot better. Especially with muscle loss and weight distribution. Those are the two things that like were huge on injections that didn't really happen with pills. Let's see, through taking pills from 24 to 32, I stayed the same weight basically, 150 pounds the whole time. I didn't lose or gain, and fat distribution is basically the same. But as soon as I started on injections, I noticed that my clothes started like not fitting, or they started fitting like a lot differently. Like my feminine clothes fit a lot more natural and better, and my masculine clothes just like it was really weird. It just didn't fit right at all. And of course, I got a lot more breast growth and all that. Um, but yeah, from injections, I went from 150 pounds as like a baseline, like a comfort weight, to 130 pounds without changing anything, without changing diet, exercise, or anything. I've always been a really active person. And I've said from my other videos, I work as a CNA, I work in the medical field, and that's got its own challenges being trans and everything. Like working with patients that want male only or female only. Um, Doritos nachos. Oh, so like, have you actually made nachos with Doritos, or are you just talking about the nacho cheese flavor of Doritos? As you saw, oh, nachos with Doritos. Oh my God, that sounds like a pro move. Oh, from 7. Oh, okay. I thought you were like doing it at home or something. I've never even heard of that. Making nachos with Doritos. I mean, like, from a health perspective, that sounds like cardiovascular disease, in a container, but from a taste buds perspective, yes, please, I'll have some of that. But yeah, like I lost a lot of weight. I went from 150 to 130. Um, a lot of stuff that I noticed though, I lost a lot of belly fat and it started just going more to my hips and more to my breasts. Also, another thing to note, when I was on pills, my breast growth was very uneven, and on injections, it all evened out, and they became the same size. So I guess that's important to note if you're a trans person watching this and you're like, trying to decide should I go on pills or injections or whatnot. Yeah, and I'm going to upload an injection video too at some point to teach everyone how to do a hormone injection in case you need information on that. And I eventually want to be a nurse in a trans health care situation and teach people on how to take their injections. Oh, yeah, a lot of people inject in the gluteus maximus. Um, that's a great place to inject. It's very hard to do by yourself though, considering it's behind you and you have to take the needle and like do kind of a contortionary thing. I inject it into my quadrilateral, right into my thigh. So and I switch thighs every week. They say to do that just so that like the amount of serum is kind of like equal on both sides and you're not stabbing the muscle too much because these injections they last longer than a week. I mean, I take the injection every week, but they do last a little longer and they create a little depot and then your body slowly absorbs it over time. I experienced a lot of muscle loss, and in being a CNA and doing like a lot of lifting and turning of people, I went from being able to lift people no problem to this is really hard. I don't want to drop anybody. I need a lot more help, which is very humbling, but you have to know your limits, and I'd rather get help than accidentally drop someone on the job. and lose my license or something. That'd be terrible. Plus, I never want to hurt anybody. Um, my goodness. Speaking of falls, I mean, my own grandmother. This is pretty emotional. She lives in a care facility, and just the other day she had a fall. And these falls, people can break their hip. Oftentimes in these settings, people are too weak to go through surgery too. Their heart is just too weak for it. So they like if they fall and break a bone like a hip, that can be it. And unfortunately my grandmother, she's passed just recently. She passed yesterday. Um, and I plan to go back to the East Coast to for her service. But yeah, I was very close with her, and I never got a chance to, show her me and that I'm trans and everything. Unfortunately, I was hoping to see her this August, but at least I was able to have a really good conversation with her before she passed, and that's okay. That's good enough for me. And I know she's happy and she's with her husband now. So in the afterlife, not really religious, but I'm super spiritual. So um, let's see, any more HRT effects that I can really think of? Um, I know. Life is constant evolution. Every few years, your body replaces every cell in its whole body. So everyone's constantly evolving. Everyone's constantly changing. Um, if if you're a transgender person and you're not happy with your results, I would highly suggest going from pills to injections because they always try to put you on pills first. And also, if you're on pills and your doctor tells you to swallow them, dissolve them underneath your tongue. Half dose in the morning and half dose 12 hours later because the pills, they have a short half-life. And if you take them all at once, you're just going to get a huge spike and then it's all going to fall off by the end of the day and you're going to have mood swings and it's going to feel terrible. That's what happened with me. Sometimes I would, well, I mean, right off at the beginning, I would take all my estrogen right off the bat. I'd feel like really emotional and kind of like, like, but like really good still. And then halfway through the day, it would all drop off, and I'd feel really depressed. And nobody wants that. Best to have a stable mood all the way through. Uh, let's see if there's anything else I should talk about. I don't really. Let's see. Um, let's see, my viewer, Owen, uh, is there anything that you want to ask a trans person while I'm here? You can ask me anything. Nothing's off limits. Oh, I guess I can show my weight distribution and everything. Here, I'll stand up for a sec. And I guess one thing I can say from that shot, yeah, I have noticed that my butt got a lot bigger, because boys usually have flat butts. I mean, there are a few that have really nicely shaped butts, especially athletic people who do a lot of running. But yeah, my waist and hips got like a lot thinner and more developed. And all in all, I'm pretty happy with my transition. I don't think I'm really going to be changing much more, without surgeries. Honestly, I don't know if I need it, but I wouldn't mind facial feminization surgery if I could afford it. Um, but yeah, Owen, what do you think? Do you think I need facial feminization surgery? I think I do. There's some people who have said that I don't, but it's tough. I don't know if people are being nice or whatnot. Of course, surgeries are a slippery slope because there's always going to be parts of you that you don't like. You fix one thing, you'll find another thing. I feel like that's psychology in a lot of people, unless you're totally narcissistic and in love with yourself. Or, I mean, not narcissistic, narcissistic. Um, but I mean, it's also okay to love every part of you, I guess, and I guess that doesn't make you narcissistic to be in that boat. But yeah, um, I think that's really it I have for now. Owen V4T, is there anything you wanna ask me or let me know about or anything before I go? I don't like just to bail on my viewers without giving them a chance to say anything before I go. Oh, all right. I guess that's it for now. Thanks for joining me. All right. Take care, everyone.